Library Board meeting will come to order. We begin with the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We will proceed with our roll call.
Caver here, Shaheda, Dawson,
Here.
Hughes Groves, Jeriga,
Here.
Peters,
Here.
Studer Myers,
It's,
absolutely excused.
excused, yes. And we're expecting, I think we're expecting both Joy and Alma to join us. And here's Alma. You want to call her name again?
Hughes Groves, here.
There you go. There you go. The agenda, the next item. This is a pretty simple agenda for us. But if anybody has a last minute thing or anything, now is the time to pipe up. Otherwise,
Make a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
moved by Dawson, seconded by Jeriga, that the agenda be approved. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed by saying no. So the agenda is approved with no dissenting votes. Then you were also presented in your packet with the July 10th regular meeting minutes. About that meeting, I must thank my vice chair, Mary Jane, for handling that meeting. And since I was not here, I have to rely on the others of you to
I make a
make
motion
sure
to
they're
approve.
correct. Yeah.
Make a motion
I
to
agree. Everybody in
So
second?
moved and seconded, and I'll still give people a chance if there's any additions or corrections to the minutes. Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed by saying no. The minutes are approved with no dissenting votes. Are there public comments tonight?
I could report that the Sumter attorney said that they got the reports back on what he calls the Octagon House. And
That's
there
progress.
is no lead-based paint and no,
Asbestos.
Asbestos.
and so they're happy about that.
Good. Have they been in touch with you, Dan, at all?
No, we're still, I had reached out to Ray Parker from Hennessy, just kind of as a first follow-up to our meeting we had. And he got back to me right away, this was a couple weeks ago, and said that he was trying to arrange a meeting or discussion with township officials. And so that, since that was before the election, I'm
Yeah.
guessing not a lot has
And
happened.
had an election,
So-
we kind of thought,
so-
so I'm glad there was a report at the meeting. I'm glad you piped up too, because I was gonna ask you, since you came right over here
Right.
from somewhere, well, it's fresh, before it even gets in print, we get it. Well, good, that they're looking and moving along, that's hopeful, and we knew we had to wait till after the election, so we'll pursue that a little further as in the coming days. Anything else in public comments? I don't see how there could be, since I made both of you say something, and that's it, that's all we got. Now it's time for committee reports, and our dear main committee woman isn't here yet. I guess maybe I'll hold off, I'll go through the rest of the list, because Joy may really have something she wants us to talk about. So, bylaws committee.
I have nothing.
No report. Finance committee is not here, and no report. Is there anything that we need to talk about, Mary Jo? Okay. Marketing committee.
No report.
No report. We're moving pretty quick. Personnel committee. No report. No report. And the policy committee. Mary Jane?
No.
We're unanimous.
We have a wonderful, we might be out here by quarter to 8. Well, on the building committee, we could have a little discussion if you want to, or we could wait a little longer till, if, nobody heard from Joy last, I talked to her a couple of days ago and she was planning to come.
I just texted her to see if she's on the way.
Why don't we just hold off a little while longer,
Okay.
I'll come back to that.
This isn't the week that she was leaving, so.
I just saw her.
Remember, she couldn't come to that meeting on the 21st because she was just getting back.
Yeah, I don't think,
But she would have said if she wasn't coming to.
I don't think she was planning not to be
Okay.
here. Why don't we go through the accounts payable and the director's report, and then if we don't get her by then, we'll just have to muddle through, because I haven't been to the last building committee meeting, and the rest, you all can fill us in. So let's think about accounts payable, and we might have a piece we have to look at extra in there. Do we, Mary Jo?
The accounts payable itself is pretty straightforward, so if you could just, approve that unless you have questions.
What did we and John?
Oh, and then it's
And
this
we'll come back
request
to
for
that, sorry.
payment,
Yeah.
it's a request for payment from our construction firm, which is not
It's
a
a
problem,
little
it's
bit
just,
different
it's a
animal,
little unusual, so we might wanna talk about it. So, yeah, let's just go through the regular register check.
What did we and John Honey here for? Pest control.
We had carpenter ants.
Let him go. We're gonna knock it down
There she
anyway.
is. I knew she would come.
Do us a favor.
They were pretty obnoxious, so.
Were they?
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Oh, you're gonna let the carpenter ants take down the building?
It was good, so we got cheaper than. They can shut them up, but.
I guess they could eat next.
Joy, we're on item 7, but we're going to come back to the building.
Wait, Dan couldn't do it?
I wouldn't let him, I won't let anybody do it but you.
Okay, so.
Anyway,
We accept,
anything else? Did you move? You moved it?
I was in the process of.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. So I move that we accept the accounts payable presented.
Wait a second.
It's been, it's been moved by Dawson and seconded by Hughes Rose, that the regular accounts payable list be approved. Any further questions? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed by saying no. The motion carries with no dissenting votes. Now we do have, it's just that it's different, we haven't looked at it, so we separated out
We're basically trying to come up with a good workflow for the pay applications from O'Neill Construction. Up until now, they've been small enough that we've just been, approving them, going through the same process where they do hit the accounts payable, so you approve it eventually. Tammy sees it when she signs the check. But since moving forward, we're really getting into the nitty gritty of the project, so once a month, O'Neill Construction will present us with their pay application. And the building committee will look at it and write up, and approve it, pending approval by Dan and me. So we have a lot of pairs of eyes looking at this to make sure all the I's
Which is
are
important.
dotted. Yeah.
It's important that we do, and now all of us, however many eyes. we
But
can-
moving forward, I'll make sure that this gets put in
Monthly,
the monthly.
so that we'll always have this to look at,
Yeah.
so
We don't have to act on anything because we already did this.
Right.
basically we did. And, it's just
It's more
important,
for your information.
Right.
yeah, and important for all of us to be very aware.
Next month, when you'll see that check in the accounts payable, you'll approve that.
So I don't think we have to take any formal action on this. It is merely in here for consideration and information and make sure everybody knows it. And I know Tanya and I are the ones that are the second signatures on the checks, but it's best for stuff like this that we all take a look at it and know what's going on and what's costing us. But we already have, as Mary Jane pointed out, it's approved and everything, and this is just for your information. So there we go.
Sharon, could I just add? Just as a
You
clarification?
can, because we're moving so fast.
You might as well
Put you
slow down
on,
with me.
I'll put you on a timer, we might.
Just because this is a pretty simple pay app. Going forward, these are gonna get much more involved and much thicker.
Yeah.
So just to understand the format of it, what you see is on the first few pages is the application for payment that is from O'Neill. So they're sort of act like the general contractor. And on their page 2, there's a listing, and this is gonna get much longer. This is only partial, so you see that it says the project cost is only like 2.1 million. Well, we're really closer to a $10 million project cost. And then what is attached to this is the next page. This page is their basically general requirements or general conditions costs. So this references one of the line items for O'Neill as kind of sort of like the reimbursable expenses essentially. And the page after that is another application for payment, same document as the first page, but this is for Blue Ribbon Contracting, our site contractor. And so this pay app goes back to the O'Neill pay app and is one line item. So what's going to happen is, as we go and we have more and more trades involved, we may have a application for payment that might have 26 of these attached to it.
Oh, boy.
So it's going to get quite lengthy.
And we're
but I
gonna kill a
think
lot
it-
of trees.
Well, possibly. But in my conversation with Mary Jo, I thought it's maybe beneficial just from a simply informational standpoint that the board see that level of information, so you know where all the dollars are going. But it's the kind of thing, if we get our process down, hopefully we'll be able to receive the pay app from O'Neill Construction, review it, and sort of be able to come to the building committee with a recommendation for approval, so we keep it sort of streamlined. That, I wanted to point out that document's gonna get pretty thick as we go forward.
So we won't be shocked when we
Correct.
see it. So thank you. And once again, this is all for information, and we are better informed, and also it's an excellent segue into us moving back to item 6A, the building committee report.
Well, we met on the 7th last week, after the bids were all open, which left us about, if we accepted, I believe, all the lowest bids, we would be about $550,000 over budget if we kept the 3% owner's contingency. So one of the options was that we are inclined to do is to lock in some of the contracts that were either already bid below our budget or are required for us to move forward. So like the electrical bid, looking at this, the asphalt was below bid by quite a bit. The masonry bid was over, but we need them early. And we got 5 estimates on that one. So we believe this is what the market is. Looking through this, there's some AACP, which is doing some rough framing. They're doing some EIFS, which is what do you call it?
EFS stands for Exterior Insulation and Finish System, which is minor, it's just our exterior soffit.
And they also bid on the gypsum and acoustical ceiling, and they were below budget, so that was one of the ones that they recommended that we accepted. The roofing was above budget, but it was within, they had some ideas of how to lower our cost, and we had 3 roofing bids. So that is another one that they're recommending that we accept. The glazing was slightly under budget for the glass. And what else?
Concrete flatwood.
Which one was it? Oh,
concrete flat work, which is the slab,
Mhm.
and waterproofing, which is fairly minor.
And
fire
simplex for now, the fire
Fire
alarm.
suppression. No, fire suppression.
Fire suppression, which was, they're an alarm company. Which was also, just a little over budget. So, they are going to do, the idea from O'Neill is that they are talking with all of the companies, continuing to talk with all the companies that we'd like to accept. They're going to come back to us at our next meeting with a possible letter of recommendation and whether to accept them or not. There are, we need to know from this board whether you would like us to have, I think you've already told us that it's okay for us to accept them. And then we'll go back and bid on the others a little later.
But the idea is for O'Neill to work with the ones that were over budget and see if there's any way we can get these down before. we
Right.
actually-
Because they have, so there's already several ideas that several of them have.
Okay.
So, and that once they're locked in, they're more likely to come up with new ideas. They're not giving it away. So, that's where we are. We're meeting again on Thursday the 23rd at 10 a.m. to talk about that. At this point, the sunscreen doesn't look like it's gonna happen.
Very sad.
You
I had to tell.
gave me that little.
But we're trying to keep we're keeping the terrace so far.
Yeah. Oh, what would we do if we didn't have the terrace? I mean, we have to wall it in. Speaker, wall it in.
We'll talk about,
That would be so silly. But
we're trying to keep the terrace.
the
So-
sunscreen is such an architectural feature for the way that I passed the library.
Well, we're $550,000 over budget. Do you have a big donor?
I'm trying. And that's a challenge too, but I'm trying. We're trying. We, not just me, we are trying. But I don't have a whisper that there's a $500,000 donor. No,
I mean, the other, our other option would be to rebid, the package, but we don't wanna do that. So we made a motion as a committee to go ahead and accept, exploring the yellow, those items that I mentioned. that,
I've got a feeling this electrical package is the Cadillac of the situation, and we can negotiate that quite a bit and get safe materials in there at a much lower price.
Well, the roofing was also high, about 100,000 high,
That's a wow.
yeah.
That's a lot. That's
concern I
that's my son's.
The electrical is above budget, yeah.
HVAC is high too, and.
Electrical was on budget.
You can't wait to have a
Electrical's on
meeting with.
budget?
I
Oh,
can't-
you're a little bit high, you're right, electrical is just a little bit high.
0.8% high.
I can't wait to have a meeting with Matt. I've got some concerns. We hired a company to lay out the sewer, the water, all these underground stuff, and they came 4 feet off, where we had to redo the whole thing differently, buy different materials, and Blue Ribbon bought stuff to fit this situation. And who pays for this? No. We need to discuss that. Because Blue Ribbon is not gonna eat the extra price. That's not fair. And then we shouldn't have to eat the problem. If we hired a company to do a job, and with the technology we have nowadays, I don't see how they can come that far off. And plus, they don't have all the information. There's stuff still going on that I'd rather not discuss right now.
Well, I think it is appropriate that this be discussed in a building committee with detail with Matt and the whole team around, so.
The ones that we are accepting are not 550,000 over budget.
No,
There's a-
But
so just to make that
it does
clear.
add up, doesn't it?
Duke Roofing was the highest one, but they also had a number of ideas that they've already expressed on how to lower the cost. Yeah,
So the
by
potential,
like 32,000 already, they've
the
talked.
possibility is that by the time we accept all the bids, this $500,000 would be notched down, that's, would be good.
Hmm?
Well, I heard when I got back in town, I got a little whisper of this issue, so I guess I got depressed a little few days ago, so I'm not gonna fall apart here, but, well, I do think it's hopeful. I think that the approach that the committee is looking to take and that our construction people are looking to take to discuss individually and try and bring these down is very hopeful. And maybe we won't be looking at $500,000 worth of problem, maybe not.
Well, we can't.
Right, well, we can't, we can't hold nothing. Yeah, true, through that, we have to build this building some kind of way. Well, yeah, but we're already getting rid of. So what you're saying in your talks, the Sun Spring just seems to be absolutely beyond our thoughts, right? Is that what you all were talking about?
Unless somebody's got a rich uncle.
It looks unlikely.
And that's all.
A significant part of this situation is the present tariff going on, where we gotta pay 35% more. That hurts us
It
tremendously.
does affect it.
Yes,
A great deal.
Yeah, the steel
We gotta
was
face reality.
100,000 over.
yeah, wow. That's my sunroof right there, sunspring right there. Okay, thank you, Joy. We wanted to wait for you to come tell us so that we would be all buzzed up and excited. Are there
Well,
other
and
things we
anybody's
have to talk
welcome to
about?
come to meetings, we've
Yeah.
got 3 scheduled. They're all at 10 a.m. Thursday the
Thursday.
23rd, Tuesday September 4th, and Tuesday, September 18th.
And they're all 10 o'clock.
And they're all 10 o'clock.
Okay,
And I don't know if there's anything else to add that I might not know about current stuff.
That's the only one that's on Thursday.
Is there any things that are getting worked out with the city? I'm understanding, right?
We're still waiting for a response. I know Dean had a conversation, I don't remember the results of it, in terms of when the permit's ready. So, Dean was wanting to start foundations in maybe 2.5 weeks, so we'll have the permit by then, so he was having a conversation with the city about just letting them know that's the schedule.
How did the engineer, the problem about the wording,
Oh, the certification?
uh-huh,
That's resolved.
Right.
But after lots of discussion, we ended up in talking with Mary Jo and John Day. We, I guess, all decided to provide one of the options we had suggested, where we gave them a preamble text that explains what that
up to this point.
what that meant, and so we would produce those drawings, they were submitted, and everything's going smoothly.
Okay.
so the permits are our thing right now.
We're still waiting, I guess, technically on the building permit, so. And Rick Rutherford was reviewing our alternate stair, oval-shaped stair, so we haven't got a final blessing on that as part of the
Much
process.
better than a square.
We have got a final?
We have not.
Oh,
no,
all right.
He's-
I have some voice messages and email to Rick, and I haven't heard back from him.
And then there also, in regards to Sumter, you've had some back and forth with, oh, what's his name,
Oh,
Raymond?
Raymond Parker, I think is his
Parker,
last name.
And Rosemary recorded before we got here, that Sumter's, tell me if I'm right, that the attorney said they had heard back, let me tell her again, heard back from who?
From whoever did the study to see if there was any contamination.
Yeah.
And there's
so-
no lead paint and no,
Up
Oh,
in
good.
asbestos. Good.
Yeah.
Joy, I would add just to your summary about the bidding. We're going to, everything you said was spot on, but just for the board's benefit, we bid out 22 categories, 22 different categories of bids. There are 9 of them that Matt is going to be looking at a letter of recommendation, that's the yellow on your sheet. There's a whole series of other categories that we're continuing to evaluate, and in O'Neill, in preparing the bid scopes, we technically, or the library technically has 90 days from the date that the bids were open, which was July 25th, so the contractors have to hold their price for that period of time. So we have some time to sort of evaluate these things, but
To look at the other packages?
correct.
Okay.
But what we're doing, the 9 that he's going to be writing a letter on for the building committee to formally award, there's still gonna be aspects of those that we're gonna be looking for cost savings, as you suggested. The other remaining, there are reasons, maybe not necessarily to award those at this point until we get a little more information. They're not as urgent. And then there's one bid category, which is millwork, that we are actually going to rebid. So really, out of all 22 categories,
Right,
there's
write that
one.
down.
There's one category that we're actually gonna rebid, and that's gonna come a little bit later.
And it's possible that we could rebid some of the others, or no?
It is possible, in working with O'Neill and our evaluations so far, there are a few categories that we didn't get great coverage. We had maybe 2 bidders and that sort of thing. There are other ones like the masonry, where we actually had 5 bidders. Masonry was 50% over budget, but we think that's the real number. It just happens to be high, and that's maybe the market condition. So in talking with O'Neill, there's not a lot of categories that jump out to us that suggest we would absolutely want to rebid them.
What about the roofing?
The roofing, we had 3 bids, and I think it was 3. And that's in a busy time like now, that's not unreasonable bid coverage. We'd like to have 5, but 3 bids is not bad.
And they had ideas to bring it was,
But we
it
had,
was about 100, less than 100,000 over, but they also had ideas to bring it down another 32,000. So, a third down.
we had an alternate for deduct as part of that. We can certainly explore rebidding some of these categories. The risk is you could rebid it and your new bids come in higher than the ones that you have now. So that's the danger. Just because you rebid it doesn't mean you're necessarily going to get lower pricing.
And
The
as
original
time marches
bidders
on.
could back out at that point.
Mhm.
Right.
Well, no, the original bidders may choose not to bid it because they already did it once.
Right.
And the reality is the bids are now public. Everybody knows what, at least the other contractors thought it should cost. So there needs to be kind of a compelling reason to rebid. The millwork is a no-brainer because we only got 1 bid and it's way high. And we know we can make some changes. Well, we have the public service desks were not part of this bid package. And so we decided we can complete that and make it a larger bid package, and it might actually garner more interest. So right now, based on our most recent meetings, the millwork was the only one we were going to definitively rebid. The other ones we're working on, both the ones that are going to be recommended, as well as the other categories, we're looking at ways that we might find cost savings. And we've generated a large list of items for us all to be exploring. so.
Okay, thank you for clarifying
Oh, and I guess to put it in perspective, so we're roughly a $10 million project. Up to this date, we've awarded about 3.4 million of that in terms of the site contract, the structural steel, the foundations, and the concrete block. So 3.4 has already been awarded. These 9 categories that Matt is going to be writing a letter of recommendation for the building committee to consider is going to amount to about 3.6 million. So once that
On top.
on top of, so we'll be about 7 million committed, and that leaves us roughly a little bit under 3 million. Well, less than under, it's more like 2 million, because the other parts of the project are general conditions. So we have about 2 million in the what we're calling the unawarded categories that we're still evaluating, plus the 1 category we're going to rebid. So it's not an objective to try to get $500,000 of savings out of the 2 million. It's going to have to come from some of these other ones that we're talking about negotiating with. So there's still work to be done, but I think I share kind of the optimistic.
Hopeful, I'm hopeful that that'll move in the right direction.
Mhm.
Well, enough, I've already said enough about my pet project. Are there other comments that are specific to the building committee? Big surprise, Joy, the other committees didn't have any reports.
that. Man, you guys moved so fast this time.
That's why we're so quick.
Yeah, we were almost ready to adjourn.
If not, then we will move on to the director's report.
I think people are starting to find us again. It took a while when construction started for people to realize that yes, we are indeed still open. Had a very successful summer reading program, a lot of kids reading books this summer. And actually our July children's program attendance number went up a little higher from last year, so they have indeed found us. I'm very excited to announce that we are going to be getting hoopla at our library.
Yay!
Starting in September.
Will you tell people a little about
I
this?
sure
Well,
will.
you already know, but some people might not.
It's an e-content service. Patrons will be able to check out e-books, e-audiobooks, music and videos with their library friends. And this differs a little bit from our overdrive system in that we pay for each individual download, and we will put a limit on. We'll probably put a limit of 4 checkouts per month per patron in order to keep our costs manageable. But if you want something, you can have it immediately. With much of overdrive, if you want something of someone, and there's a whole list, you have to wait for it, just like you do with a physical book. So I think people are going to be very happy with this.
How much does the download cost? Does it depend on what it is?
That's free.
Well, for the patron, it's free.
No, I
The
know
average
that.
is-
I'm just talking
yeah.
about the library.
I think the average is about $2 a download.
Okay.
I use all mine. We have
Okay.
some I add to yours because I don't have enough, so.
Okay.
I listen to audiobooks so much.
We wanted to start off with a slightly lower number and see how it goes before we don't want to offer 10 per month and then we have to.
No, we did that too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ratchet it back, so we're gonna try to start small and then be able to expand if we can.
The nice thing about Hoopla too is that, I think, isn't that one linked in the catalog?
Yes.
Yeah, so you can see it in the catalog, there's a digital version.
And I have to admit, one of the things, and this has been on our radar, we were going to do this anyway, but what really spurred us along in the new Carl catalog, it shows all of those holdings. And so it's very frustrating for our patrons to click on it and not be able to download it. So we want to get this going sooner rather than later.
How long do you get to keep it?
A month is the way ours
Okay.
is. So you get it for 30 days, you don't
And I'll
get
have to-
through it, you can just renew it again, because you don't have to.
And
pay
I'll have to
something.
check with that standard, or if that's
Yeah.
something that, if that's probably standard, because there's no reason, it's not like someone's waiting for it, so.
No, you can't, just, it doesn't matter if you return it, because it doesn't mean you get any more that month.
Right.
But you can delete it off your computer if you're
Mhm.
listening or watching.
And no overdue fines, it just goes away when,
But you do have to be a patron in good standing.
yes.
That's one of the technological improvements that we're offering before the new library is finalized, so these are all going together.
Hoopla is really easy to use, so people like it.
Yeah,
That's good.
yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
The other thing I think that's different about Hoopla and Overdrive is that Overdrive is, a lot of the content is hand-selected by librarians, where for Hoopla, I think it's just what they have available, everything is available, is how I understand it.
Right, it's a much,
Yeah.
much larger database.
But they have content that's very different from each other, so if you can't find something in one, you may find it in the other.
So a book club could theoretically use Hoopla,
Yes.
and
Mhm.
you don't have to worry about getting copies from
Enough books.
4 or 5 different libraries.
Absolutely.
Right.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay, I got it.
Yeah.
A school, a classroom
Yeah.
could use Hoopla and,
Project.
Cool,
Mhm.
all right.
And I did not include this in my report, because it happened after this got, issued. I have been in email contact with Eva Davis, the director of the Canton Library. They are looking at reevaluating their, checkouts for non-residents. Right now, a non-resident of Canton is limited to, I believe it's 10
ten.
checkouts, at a time. They want to get rid of as many of those as possible, and recognizing, our community's support of our library, the fact that they, voted for the bond and the millage, and they know that, our new library's coming, they wanna, get rid of all those limits, so they're working
So
towards
that
that.
they can come in.
So,
check out
so,
our
our-
books?
so, our- well, no, so, no, so anybody who lives in our community can use the
Okay.
Canton Library without restrictions.
Do we limit them to 10?
Their whole thing
No, but it's
was-
kind of a non-issue for us.
Right.
Their whole thing was they didn't wanna
The
subsidize
one
communities.
Canton patron we have.
They didn't wanna subsidize communities that would not
Support
themselves,
them.
that would not invest in libraries.
Right.
But
Gibson
now our
is
community
10
is
too.
invested in the library.
So that's
Landing
good
Source
news.
is 10 too, though.
Is it?
Has
We
any
have
changes
10
occurred for the computer classes there? No, they're still the same.
I'll have to check on what their policy is for classes for non-residents.
There was none before.
Okay, I'll check on that.
Hmm. Oh, that's good news. A new part-time librarian.
Yep, she said, welcome, sir.
Oh, yeah. Do you wanna announce about Jessamy? Maybe
We have a staff member who, gave birth to a lovely baby girl this past week, so
Aw.
we're very
Just a
excited
couple
about
days
that.
ago. Or weekend. Yeah. Wonderful.
And we have a new librarian.
And we're a new librarian,
Right.
so.
Who is she?
Teresa.
Her name is Teresa Spiteri, excuse me if I butchered it, Spiteri Zidell,
Oh, there it is.
and we hired her part-time.
I met her yesterday.
And she will help with some of the various projects we have going on, getting ready for the new library.
Now, does she live locally or she?
She does, yes.
Okay, cool.
Are there more questions of our director?
There is, do we know if who's running for library board?
Yes. Do you wanna, she asked the director, so you
Okay.
tell.
There are 5 board members running for 4 seats, so,
5
Yeah.
candidates.
5 candidates running for, 5 candidates running for 4 board member seats.
And 3 of them are sitting board members.
Correct, so, They're here, they're awesome.
It's just gonna
Kind
have
of
to come visit
satellite.
us a lot.
So we're going to be losing Michelle. So I hope you come back and visit us.
Yeah,
I will.
every extra thing we can think of will.
You can be the public.
You have to type then.
So Rosemary won't have to double dip taking notes and being in public. You can.
Who are the other two?
And Linda Priest, she's on the Friends of the Library, and Barbara Gates, who I believe is new to our community and wants to get involved.
Good.
So it looks like John will be our male on the board. You'll have to hold up for
Our
your
token
gender
male.
some more.
I can handle that.
Prove that you can do this.
We had no doubt.
So, and Rosemary ran an article on that, but,
Oh, sorry, Rosemary, I didn't.
Yeah. So, good. Anything else? Any other questions? We are going along so well. So, yeah, you can keep eating cookies. I thought I'd pass those around, and if, do you want a cookie, Jackie?
I'm okay right now. Thank you.
What about Dan and Rosemary?
Sure you don't want one?
We'll
See, I knew you wanted one, you just didn't want to have to.
Thank you.
leave the rest of the cookies for the staff.
Sure, thank you.
Um,
Rosemary, do you get dessert at any other meetings?
Come on, you want a second?
Rosemary, like, let me get this cookie out my mouth.
Who?
Rosemary needs a cookie after the other meeting, she gets attacked. Attacked.
Who feeds you there? Who's the other meeting that feeds you?
Keystone Academy School.
Ah, okay.
They
They
have
always had supper for everybody.
Do they?
Well, that's nice. That ensures a big crowd.
I'm usually in public.
Oh, all right.
You're the public in a lot of
Even
places.
with dinner.
Well, yeah, and from my experience with school boards, those meetings might go on so long, they need to feed you. But, now it's the trustee comments, and I started over there before, so I'm starting with John this time.
I passed these out. My wife and I are having an art show in our yard again. This is the 5th year. September 15th from 10 to 4 at my house at Huron River Drive. The address is on the card, and the artists, 12 of which are on the back of the card. And usually it goes from 10 to 4, but we do serve food and wine, and with the wine, people stick around till 9 o'clock usually. Laying on the grass and
Or till you run out.
Passed out?
we don't encourage it.
Last year,
Please don't.
they
Please don't. Great fun.
got baked out, it was a hot day
Yeah,
last
it's hot.
year. Yeah,
I didn't
that's
get
very
one.
nice, thank you. If you need a, here's one for you, my dear. Doesn't it start? Michelle?
Are you sitting on a feather?
Michelle, you have to do these things, you have only a few more
I
times
know,
to have
right?
this opportunity.
Put me all on the spot. Michelle's not coming back. Y'all see her
We're gonna, yeah, of course we will.
I
We
will
we
certainly-
love you, we love you, dear.
I love you guys too, and I've certainly come to visit. Trust me, everybody talked to me like, Michelle, you have to do this, and I'm like, I can't, I have to tap out at this point. Family obligations. She's got a full schedule, she told
She
me
does.
about it, I was like, I
She
guess
does.
we're lucky we got you 4 years.
Yes, we are lucky.
I do, but I'm
And
certain.
plus, you're not leaving yet.
I'm
so
not
we're
leaving
not-
yet, I'm gonna be here,
Right.
right? I'm gonna be here, and
Right.
I will come back to visit, but, it's great. It's great serving with all you guys, and my support will continue to be there. I will be here the next few months, and my support won't stop then, but, certainly I continue to be excited about everything that's going forward. Sometimes it's difficult, like,
when you hear things like over $550,000 over budget possibly, but you know what? It all works out. Don't be discouraged, it will work out. I'm convinced of it. You're like, this is for you, second show. You're gonna do something. It will work out, but let's keep pressing forward. Let's keep pressing forward. We didn't come this far to throw in the towel. Keep pressing on, it's gonna work out. That's all I have to say.
Thank you. Joy?
I can't think of anything. I am happy to work with all the building committee members who are being so good about working everything out every time we have to meet. It's 'cause it's been a long process. How many hours, John?
121 right now.
Yeah,
That's all.
you're gonna. It doesn't sound like a lot anymore,
We have 4
does
more meetings, they'll
Yeah.
get there.
it? We have years of, a
Yeah.
year and a half of more meetings,
Yeah.
at least. So, and I wanna say I'm sorry Lachelle is not running, but I'm sure glad we have 3 board members who are continuing.
Hopefully the public will support us to get us back. Thank you. Mary Jane?
So, just a reminder that people can donate bottle caps for a bench in Belleville.
Where's the receptacles for that? I have a bunch I've been saving now.
There's
Is it
some
here in the
There's some here,
library?
there's some here at the
Okay,
desk.
all right.
Plus music in the park, the young ladies there
Yeah.
with the desk.
I'll bring some.
And the bariatric office that's next to Barbara Bob's. I was walking the dog one day last week and there's a bucket sitting on top of a bench there that says, so.
Okay.
And if you haven't had a chance to go see the fish by the lake, please do, because it is, I think that is just one of the neatest things. People have decorated these fish. I've done 2 that are up, and I've done 2 more. If I had more fish, I'd decorate more fish, but I guess that's all they're gonna do. But it's just an amazing sight, so if you haven't seen it, please go over and take a look at
It was
it.
the Belleville Area Council for the
Right,
Arts. It's
right.
sponsored,
And it
a
just-
lot of library support, a lot of
It just
library
looks so
people.
cool when you drive by or if you're walking on
By
the
the boat
sidewalk.
too,
Yeah,
it's cool.
yeah,
Yeah, it is a nice idea, real nice idea.
I'm done.
Alma?
Well, I was just gonna wish Lachelle well, and
She's not going anywhere for
well,
months.
when she does go,
But she's not gonna go.
she will be terribly missed. And it's been a pleasure serving with you. And also to the building committee, thank you again for your tireless effort, and thank you to the people that agreed to run again for office, and you have my support.
Well, there's one vote.
Yeah, there you go.
That's all you need.
We're good, we're good. Then if that takes care of our trustee comments, chair comments, in anticipation that I didn't have much to say, I gave you all a little sugar to keep us going. And we're back to buzzing along. You know, we had a little, with our construction, I'm very pleased about that. We had a little hiatus that a lot of people in the community were commenting on, but I was by here today and they were all chugging and digging, and it's good to have that movement going on. So I don't have further things to say.
Madam Chair, I make a motion, meeting be adjourned.
Second. It has been moved by Jarita and supported by Jehevitz that the meeting be adjourned. There's no debate on that motion. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? We are adjourned at 8:20. Would you please make a note of it? And I thought, I thank you.